Testing, testing. Okay. So we're going to jump in with summarizing. We just completed paraphrasing. And so paraphrasing is not as detailed as summarizing. So I want to go over how we would summarize. Okay. One thing that I do want to remind you of when we did talk about paraphrasing was that we wanted to make sure that we use what words? Our own words is correct. Remember, we're not trying to plagiarize. So that is what is essential there. It talks about the fact that we're restating it in our own words, but the author's meaning, not the wording, is retained. Okay? It's a much more simplified version, and so we knew that C was the correct answer on that one. Now, we're going to move into summary. You will see the poll pop up for you. Just setting it up. Please don't mark on the screen. If I need to remove presenter, privileges, I'll do that. When it's time to do that, do that. It's just, we got a lot to get through at this point. All right. So for summarizing information, there are going to be a few steps for this. You can see there's going to be a total of 8 steps. So the first thing you want to do when you're summarizing, you can see point 1, you want to highlight and annotate. Okay, you want to highlight and annotate. That's your first step so that you can understand it and have enough to where you can actually summarize it. Then you want to write a main idea statement. And it says here, write one sentence that states the writer's overall concern or most important idea or the main idea. Next, use your own words, not the author's. That's very much the same as paraphrasing, right? That component. Then you want to review the major supporting information that the author uses to explain that major idea. Okay? Following up. Now, the amount of detail you use will depend on your purpose for that summary. Okay, so if you use a whole lot of detail or not, depends on your purpose. Now, just like when you're writing through it, you want to keep it similar in order to where the author has done that. You don't want to deviate from that. If they put in a clear opinion in that piece, be sure to include it. And then lastly, if it's for your own use, you don't have to worry about grammar, spelling, and syntax. Okay, so if it's for you, don't worry about that. One thing I like to tell students too, even when you're writing your first draft or typing something up the first time, don't worry about that stuff because it pulls away from your creative process. Everybody understand that? Then you can go back. Ignore the squiggly lines. You know what I'm talking about? That tell you something's wrong? Ignore it. Come back to it. Keep that train of thought. Keep going. Then go back. Okay? A lot of times people get bogged down. Oh my gosh, something's wrong there. Let me fix it. Then it breaks your train of thought. Again, just keep going. But do we leave it that way? No. Now, if it's for your own purposes, you don't have to worry about it. But I just don't want you to get bogged down in the process. Now, I just talked about summarizing. So this question asks us, which of the following is not a step in summarizing? Which of the following is not a step in summarizing? Is it A, highlight or write brief notes on the material? Is it B, write one sentence that states the writer's overall concern or most important idea? Is it C, copy the author's words? Is it D, review the major supporting information the author gives to explain the major idea? Go ahead and select your choice. All right, check in with your group. Let me know when everybody in your team has answered. Everybody on your team has answered, let me know. That means communicate with each other. And then team lead, let me know when it's all good. Okay. Y'all are? Okay. What about over here? Y'all team, are you good to go? They're still thinking. Let me hit this for a second. All right, I'm going to show the responses. Here we are. Okay, everybody answered C, and that's because that would be correct, as we don't want to plagiarize, right? Especially if you're going to copy the words without attributing them at any point, that is plagiarizing, correct? All right, moving forward. Immediate review, okay? So with immediate review, you're going to review your lecture notes as soon as possible after you took them, okay? After you took them. So we talked about this like just briefly before as a strategy, but now we want to kind of hit in on it strongly. So with immediate review, again, we want to review those right after. Review the textbook chapter as soon as you finish it, and then you can possibly review all that course material again at the end of the day. Like every class you had, just look at all the notes, glance through the chapters, make sure that it's locked in, okay? Even if they didn't assign it, okay? Because that's just going to support you even better. Now, here's some other learning and recall strategies. We mentioned in chapter 1 the SQ3R strategy, right? We mentioned that one. They're going to touch on it again in this chapter because it is so valuable. Periodic review, final review, building an intent to remember, organizing and categorizing, association, using a variety of sensory modes, visualization, and mnemonic devices. So going through each one, we know what SQ3R is. We covered it, right? It's that system we covered in chapter 1. It is firstly previewing, and it's that detailed preview that we talked about. Okay, we all know that. Then next, questioning, asking those guiding questions. We flip the headings and the subheadings in the questions. And then we actually read. After we read, we check to make sure we understand the information by seeing if we can address the questions we develop from the headings and the subheadings. Then we review. The same process as that survey, but we're doing it at the end. All right. Next, periodic review. So let's say, and I'll mention it, let's say your textbook has about 12 chapters in it. Okay, let's say your history text has 12 chapters you got to go through. You decide for periodic review, every 3 chapters, you're going to go back and review it. Why do you think someone might want to do that? Go back every 3 chapters to review information. Yes. To keep it fluid. Yeah, I mean, if you have another language that you're learning or that you have used, if you don't keep working in it, if you don't use it, you lose it, right? So periodic review, I'm going back every 3 chapters, and I'm doing like the survey thing. Everybody get what I'm saying? I'm just going back through, okay, what happened in that chapter? And I keep it moving. Then, when it's time for the final exam, what do I do? Final review. I'm not cramming because I've done immediate review, I've done periodic review, and now I'm going to do that final review. So it feels very natural. I'm not stressed. Everybody getting this? I'm not stressed. I know it. I know it. Thank you. Just hit the sound button. Thank you. All right, next. Building an intent to remember. Now, and it says here, before reading an assignment, clearly define as much as possible why you need to remember this. I'm going to give a non-academic example and then an academic example, okay? So let's say, who's ridden a school bus before? Like a bus? Yeah. Has anybody ever ridden like the CAT bus before? Anybody in here? Yeah? CAT bus. Yeah, the Clemson area transit bus. So the CAT bus, it started actually, as I was leaving Clemson, it didn't look anything like the buses we have now. It was a very small bus, But we were proud to have our cat bus. And it was only for on campus. It hadn't transitioned into like going through town. That didn't exist. That wasn't a thing, okay? But let's say you were waiting on the bus, whatever bus, city bus, cat bus, whatever thing is, and you're at the bus stop, and there are other people out there. The first person you meet, you talk to them just to, kind of like make sure the time is spending, and you don't get bored, okay? Because your phone has died. Everybody got this? So you're bored. Phone's dead. Got a person talking to them. They're not very interesting, but it makes time go past. Now another person walks up because their bus is going somewhere else. You got to go to a different bus, right? So another person walks up. This person is very interesting. You're like, wow, this individual could be the one. Okay, maybe not, but for that moment, this person could be the one. But remember, your phone's dead, so you can't put their number in the phone, correct? So you're going to build an intent to remember because they gave you their name and their number. So you're going to say, this person could be the one. I'm going to remember it, correct? Now, the first person, will I remember that? The first person? No. Okay, go ahead.
Why wouldn't you just give them your number instead?
It's for this, both of y'all phones dead. Look at that, it's horrible. That's why y'all get along so well. Look at that. The charging cord, y'all didn't even, that little piece that fits on the back, that little Apple charging thing, y'all don't even have that. That's bad, isn't it? Today's a horrible day. But you said this could be the one because we're bad off together. Okay? Yes.
What you traveling with?
I got my phone, but it's dead. I'm on the bus.
You ain't got no.
I got nothing. I'm just here, just like this right here. It's sad. I got this little from my lip balm. That's all I got. They not, I got some money. Like if they charge me for something, I need to drop by McDonald's. I have $5. He's like, this is sad, isn't it? When I went to bed last night, I didn't put anything on the charger. It was bad. Yeah, it was bad. Bad day. But y'all gonna make sure from now on your stuff is charged, right? But because that first person, do I care to remember their information? No, and I don't care if I see them again, right? But this other person, I'm going to remember their name and their contact information. They might meet me at the dog park. I don't know, because we both have little dogs. So we're going to go to the dog park, all that kind of good stuff, okay? Say what? Dog's not with me. I got them, though. It's at the house. It's sad, isn't it? It's very sad. It's a coincidence. Like, hey, can you put it in? Can you get... My phone did, too. I don't know what's going on.
It sounds like a loose-based production of a quick comedy sketch.
It's a rom-com, isn't it? It's a little rom-com. So let's say, but in your academic subjects, if you do not think about your why, you aren't going to try to remember it, right? For instance, if I'm in a class that I don't like, okay? But guess what? It's a part of the curriculum for my program, right? If I decide I'm not going to do it, who does that hurt?
You.
It hurts the student, right?
It don't hurt the teacher.
Not really. I'm being honest. I mean, I want, you know how I feel about it. I want to give all the opportunities and things like that.
I don't think you do to the teachers have a bad rating for overall for negative.
And there are plenty of people with that. I'm gonna be honest. Okay. So, but it hurts. Remember, I'm in school just like you are. My program for my doctoral program has an 18% pass rate. 18%. Do y'all hear me? Is 18% high? 18% of people who enroll pass it. Everybody hear that? And that program's still going. So it doesn't, and that's how doctoral programs are. That's how many programs are. So it's not about that instructor, it's about do you want it? Everybody get what I'm saying? So that's why I'm going back to the fact of it is you might dislike a class completely. But like the class I'm in now, it's very difficult because I'm a qualitative, typing out the words, descriptions and stuff like that kind of person, okay? Quantitative, more mathematical languages, I don't like it as much. It's just the way I'm wired. I will do it because I'm required to do it. Everybody got that? But Will it hurt that teacher? Not at all, because it is a personal choice. Okay? But I'm building that intent to remember because I want to pass it. Everybody got that? So that's how we relate this. Like my why. If I have a why, I will remember it. Okay? Hey, shine. Organizing and categorizing. Now, what time do y'all leave this campus today? Like class is over for you and you're out of here. How many, will you get your bag? I don't want you to. There you go. Huh? Say what? 4 o'clock? Okay. 5? 3:50 close to you're saying right after this, we out of here. Say same thing. Anybody got like another class after this? Okay, so everybody's getting out of here about 4 o'clock. Okay, does your family or significant other or friends know that? They know it. So let's say you get a call, you get in the car, you're like, yes, I'm out of there. Woo! Put that seatbelt on, right? You put on whatever music, whatever, and you're like, okay, it's over. And then ring, 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 you get a call from home. What might they be asking you?
What you want for supper?
They could be, if it's good. That right there. There we go. Can you stop by X, Y, and Z because we need something, okay? So in this illustration, the person has called, okay? We're going to have a get-together at the house tonight. I'm about to cash app you or Apple Pay or whatever, okay? So I'm about to send you this $100, okay? Keep the change, so you know you be smart about how you're spending it, right? So they'll send you this 100, but this is what I need. So the first time they just say, okay, so yeah, don't you think? I don't know if we got paper plates. Oh yeah, grandma's drink. Make sure you get that. Meat. Yeah, let's get like some hamburgers. Oh yeah, I think we might be out of ketchup. Oh yeah, what about hot dogs? Oh, 7-Up might be good. So, but will that stay as good as them saying, hey, paper products? Hey, make sure you get some napkins, plates. You know, we need that. Yeah, get those two specifically, right? Napkins and plates. Drinks, get grandma's favorite, you know, the sweet tea she likes or whatever the thing is, and some 7-Up. Meats, let's get hamburgers, and you know the kids want some hot dogs like that. And then condiments, I think we're out of ketchup.
It's no longer a gift, it's more of go shopping for me.
But it's the same thing, but the list the first time was just like what?
No.
It's the same items, but it was wildly given to us, right? Now, with this second version, it's organized and categorized. So we remember really the 4 categories, okay? And then within those 4 categories, it's easy for our brains to say, oh, I need this, this, and this, right? It's easier. It's just the way our brains, it's like a little filing system in there. And we're like, oh, column 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I remember those things.
I think like
Right? What were the drinks? Yes, 7-Up and tea. What were the paper products? Yes. What about the meats? What about the condiments? Yes. Right away, right? Our brains are just built that way. They don't like chaos. Brain does not let like, oh, immediately you're like, no. I am driving. You're going to have to text me. You know, it's just automatic no. But if they categorize it, you got it. You're in the store, right? And you have it. And it's the same thing when we're studying. If you got a bunch of wild stuff, your brain's not going to hold on to it. So if I say, we're going to go back to World War II. Remember, we did that before, right? So if I say before the war, during the war, after the war. Everybody get that? So I have dates before the war and events, during the war and after the war. I know how to sync it up now. And my brain's like, oh, that was during the war. Oh, yeah, I got that. Oh, that's after, when everybody was dealing with the aftermath and trying to see how they were going to legally hold people accountable for their actions and things like that. Oh, before the war. Oh, we saw this stuff coming. Why didn't anybody see this? All these actions led up to this, right? So that's how we can categorize stuff. So when you're studying, look for that. Look for those organization and categorization patterns that will help your brain to hold on to that stuff. Because everybody had that list, didn't you? You had that list. You're like, oh, yeah, I know what you're supposed to get from the store. Associating ideas. This is the same thing as prior knowledge. So we know stuff before we come into the classroom. So as soon as that topic comes up there, you see those points that are going to be covered, start thinking about, what do I know about this? Because then your brain's ready to assimilate that old information with the new stuff. And it makes it hold on better. All right. Using a variety of sensory modes. Using a variety of sensory modes. So here we have, what are some senses? What are the 5 senses?
Your ears, your nose.
Hold on. We got it. That first one, ears. What is that? Hearing. Then we have what? What else?
Your nose.
Yeah.
See.
See, or sight, right? We have that tasting, right? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, right? So when they talk about using a variety of sensory modes, they're saying use as much of that as you can to help you. So there's even science saying if you study, and let's say if you were chewing gum while you're studying, and you during the test chew it while you are taking the test, sometimes for some reason your brain's like, oh, this is the same environment in which I learned this. It's a weird brain science. It's just like, oh, peppermint. Oh, I had a peppermint while I was doing that. And it kind of gives you a jar about what you're doing. In addition to that, we're going to go with, I'll give you an example of my daughter in 1st grade. I love to use the kids. I think last time did I tell you about her with Abraham Lincoln's assassination, with Booth, did we talk about that? Oh, we'll get to that then. Yeah, I think that's coming up in a minute. So bring me back to that, okay? I have interesting children, I'm gonna tell you right now. So
How old are you, Keita?
So I have a 13-year-old and 20-year-old.
Oh.
So here we have, if we look here, Chloe. Chloe was in 1st grade. And she was in her science class, okay? And in the science class, they wanted to teach them about a few things. They had to talk about the scientific method, which with the scientific method, you have your control group and your experimental group, right? Y'all know what I'm talking about with that? Yeah. So you have a control group and you have the experimental group, right? They wanted to teach them about those 2 things. They also wanted to teach them about hand washing and cleanliness and germs and all that kind of stuff. So they combined a lesson. They said, we're going to have to use, because they're in 1st grade, we're definitely going to have to use these senses. So they got apples with varying levels of sugar content. So they have like really sweet, like a red delicious apple, okay? All the way to like a Granny Smith or something, just for like cooking, and even more like for just cooking and things like that, all right? So they wanted them to taste each one of those. Ooh, good, ooh, tart, okay? And then chart and say, which ones do you think have more sweetness in them, okay? I'll get you. And then they had them to have their hands really clean, because you got to start with no like things that are going to be added to it, okay? So they give them slices. They put each one of those clean types of apples into bags, seal them off, okay? Then they're to chart each one of those and see how long it takes and what the mold growth looks like on each one of those because of the sugar content, okay? Then they have them to do one more thing, which is the fun part. They say, which parts of the room do you think are the dirtiest in this classroom? And you're going to, each one of you from those categories, you're going to take a slice of the apple and wipe it in one of the dirty spots and put it into the Ziploc bag, okay? And so you got all those, and they're to chart those as well, right? And so they're seeing the differences according to sugar and when you're not clean, okay? And they're doing drawings every day of what that apple looks like. And they're keeping it in a little flip book, which that's a cool, I mean, think about that project. That is the coolest project. So you have taught kids, because they are sitting there smelling it as they put it in their mouth. They tasted it. They can hear that crunch when you bite into the apple, right? You can see it. All the things. You're definitely touching them. So that is a core memory now. They will not forget that control group with the cleanliness, but you had the sugar content, but still was a variable, right? But they all were clean. And then you had all the dirtiest place in the classroom, apples, right, that they were charting. What do you think, if you had anybody experienced that at their school? Did they do that project? If you had experienced that, do you think you'd ever forget about that? No, because that was a real experience. It was real scientific, experiment, right? And you used all of your senses, and that's how we work too. We're wired in that way. When we are doing things, I say you can't be tasting everything, but when you are reading about those events from World War II, and you're talking about the before, during, and after, I can visualize it. Could I not? What do I think that was like? Right? What do you think those people heard? What do you think it felt like? Was it cold? What was the environment like? So you're going to have a core memory with that instead of it just being loosely out there. And then while you're participating in that reading, we're highlighting, right? We're annotating, so we're getting our touch in there so that we really get that learning in there. Yes.
I can remember that, like, the thing about those five things, A-E-I-O-U, because without A-E-I-O-U, you can't spell most words.
Mm-hmm.
Because you need an A or an E, an I or O. You don't usually need U, but most words involve, I mean, if you look on the screen, all those words that are involved, those, one of those letters.
Mm-hmm.
And you use those every day in your life, so you gotta use those.
So you're associating and saying that with the senses, that you're seeing that commonality
They're
between
more
them?
important than any other word.
Okay.
That's how it works.
I got you. And like you said, everybody is that's the way that you lock that in. You're like, this is something you gotta have. Yeah.
I mean,
So we're gonna tie that in, visualizing, when we just talked about that. Another thing for you to consider with visualizing, some people do this practice, and most people have at some point in their life done this. Let's say that you're nervous about a test. Has anybody before the test had negative thinking about the test? And what do I mean by that negative thinking?
you're gonna fail it.
That constant mantra, right? Ooh, gonna fail it, gonna fail it, gonna fail it. What am I telling myself?
You're doing failure.
Yes! And then when it happens, we're just shocked and dejected, right? I can't believe I failed that test. Why would I fail that test? What did I tell my brain about 100 times? You don't fail it. You can't do nothing. Terry, you can't do nothing. Poor brain is going, okay. Right? I can't do nothing. But if I am visualizing, because I did immediate review, periodic review, and final review before that test, and I tell myself, guess what? We're going to do this because we did the work. We're not out there just saying we're going to get it because we're special and we got the fairy dust on us, right? No. We're saying we did all the stuff to get here, so why would I fail it? That's crazy, So that's visualizing myself being successful instead of that other craziness, which we all laughed at, and we're like, why would somebody do that? Because we do, right? So it's like, nope, stop that. Kick that negativity out. I did what I had to do. Be positive about it. Next, mnemonic devices. Now we're ready to talk about my crazy kind of different children again. So with mnemonic, what do you hear in that? Memory. Okay? It's spelled differently, right? But English, we borrow words from everybody. We don't know how to not borrow words from everybody. I don't know what it is, but that's why everything's spelled a little differently, okay? So that's what that's about. But it's supposed to be the same as memory, okay? Because a mnemonic device is a memory aid or a tool that helps us to remember an idea or phrase, okay, or pattern of letters that we use for those associations. So we could use things like rhymes, we could do things like poems, songs, acronyms, images, outlines, and other tools. So I'm going to show you some examples of mnemonic devices. Okay? Here we are. Now, this one should be very familiar, right? The one on the left, PEMDAS. Who's heard of PEMDAS? Everybody, right? At some point, PEMDAS. So you might have learned it as please excuse my dear Aunt Sally, right? Or we might have learned it as PEMDAS, but both stand for parentheses, exons, multiplication, division, addition, subtraction, going from left to right, whichever one you encounter first, correct? PEMDAS. And that helps us with the order of operations for math, correct? Yes. What about this one? What do you think it relates to just from seeing the picture first? What are these that this person's drawing on this napkin? The planets. So it has on there, my very educated mother just served us noodles, right? So it's to help you memorize those planets. Next, we're going to be dealing with the continents. Eat an apple. Eat an apple as a nice snack. Then lastly, homes for the Great Lakes. Okay? Yeah. And so, now that I've given you some regular examples, who knows who assassinated Abraham Lincoln? John Wilkes Booth. Where was he when this happened? He and in theaters you sit in what? But what's another word for like if you're all sitting together on a booth? Okay. So my child, the youngest, who is my different, very on beat, off beat child. Yes, she does that too. She started early. She started very early. Still getting diaper trained early. But she needed a mnemonic device to remember things for her class. She gleefully came up. She had a little song. Abraham Lincoln was sitting in a booth while he got shot by John Wilkes Booth. I was like, wait a minute. We cannot go to school happily singing this. She was doing a little jig. She was happy. I was like, why is this happy? Why does this cause happy? She was like, I don't know. It just feels good. Booth and booth. I was like, no, okay, understood. We're just not going to bring that same energy to the class tomorrow because your teacher might think you're a little different. But she was using the mnemonic device, right? And the whole thing was there. She could think about it. She knew where it was, right? She understood the whole process. Yes, she still does stuff like that. She's actually going to be in a play soon. And she did the because she's on the cusp of Gen Z, Gen Alpha. Okay. So she did that version in her, like, for me at the house, because I said it would be sacrilegious if you did this. Like for the director, okay, she said, but I have to get it out of my system. I have to get it out. I said, yes, I understand. So she had all the memes and all the stuff. She had a great time. But then she did it in the serious way, right? But that was her mnemonic device, to use humor and memes and a lot of Gen Z, Gen Alpha isms. Y'all see what I'm saying? And she has it locked now, okay? Now she's just got to practice her presence, her stage presence. She's young Rosa Parks. So just imagine.
Oh boy.
She could not do any of that. I was just like, Chloe. She's like, Mom, I just got to get out so I don't do this while I'm on stage. I was like, okay, I understand.
Do it in your room. Like, do it.
She did it for me. She did it. She had the whole thing in her head too.
Was it hard for you to laugh at her?
I was just in shock the whole time, because who thinks that your kid does this in their head? But I know now every time that yes, it is a real thing.
Should it be though?
I do. I think it's fine. I do. I think it's healthy. Now we're going to take a 5-minute brain break, and then after that, we're going to cover your class project. So that's where we're really going to get into, that point. Okay. So let's just pick it up at 3:20. Okay. That machine's expensive out there. Did you get that out of that machine out there? Oh, what is happening? Is it $3? How much was yours?
$3.
Yeah, I got something the other day. I was in shock when I looked at my receipt because it doesn't show you. Oh, they've got a good gimmick. Whoever this company is.
You might as well go to the store and buy you like a whole 6-pack.
Yeah, it looks nice too. Like I love the look of it. It's like you trust me, and I just get the thing out right, even though it knows how much you get out, right? It knows. Oh yeah. And so it's wonderful until I was like, oh, maybe $195, $205, no $3. 10 for what? Just those two for 10. The horror. Hold on, what kind of drink is this other drink right here? It's an energy drink. How much is Red Bull? $7? Like what's happening? A $7 Red Bull. Oh no, this is.
I can pull up the jars of my.
That's bad. No, I believe you. I'm saying I got a little bag of puffs for $3 yesterday.
I was tired from coming up the stairs on Monday.
It's like I need something, and they know that. That's why they put the expensive one at the top. That's what it is.
It's the same way on the second
Oh, shameful. We should boycott it. Just don't buy anything from it. Yeah, they'll lower the price.
You don't use your machine yet.
For what? No. Does it hold the $10 and then give you back?
I was hoping it was. No, it'll hold your card until you shut the door, and then it'll still charge you regardless.
Okay, we need to find out about this because $10. I'm not. We could have like 3 packs of soda sitting in here for us all or something. This is crazy. Class drinks. Yeah, it's shameful.
I'm so glad you told me because I was trying to figure out.
There are other machines, let me tell you, that are normal, okay? You know what Ruby Hicks is, that building? You see the prices, they're like $2, and $1.95. And then also in the cafeteria, you can get it in the bookstore, okay? I wouldn't do this one. Yeah, that right there, yeah. Yeah, y'all could buy these nice bougie cups that y'all got and just refill them over and over, right? I mean, what kind is that one? Is that the Stanley? Oh, y'all, yeah, expensive people. Who else has a Stanley? I know y'all. Look at you. Yeah, a couple. Oh, okay, hold on. We get ready to start it back up, but
I got the whole rainbow.
okay, how many have more than one Stanley? You got more than one?
I wanted this at a thing.
Oh my gosh, y'all are bourgeoisie.
I don't buy it.
Huh? Talking about gifting?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I got one this at a compliment.
We proletariats over here can't afford all of this. You said the rainbow. Y'all got a plethora of Stanley cups. Oh my gosh. I have like, what is it called? Some kind of aqua, whatever. It's just a regular, like it's a Hydro flask or whatever that is. Yeah. I got it from Marshall's.
She's got one that's got every color on it.
Mm-hmm. That's lovely. No, I got mine from Marshall's. I just get the cups that they have, whatever that is. I just get it. Yeah. I'll get one of those. I ended up getting 2 because I got one for myself and one for my husband. And he didn't want his, so I just, used that. He wanted a different type of just regular, more manly. I was like, it's a blue cup? It's like, what is the more manly cup? But it needed to be less Stanley looking, so like, okay, I'll happily take your cup. Yeah, and I got those caps, but I got them the cheap versions, like that one back there has a cap on top of it. I've got some varieties of that, but it wasn't expensive. I got a pack of them for maybe $5 or something.
Oh yeah, you can get straw caps at Dollar Tree.
Oh,
They
really?
make the Stanley cups now where they got the little straw thing that flips down to where it doesn't spin.
A cover, yes, we need that. Right? We need it. Mm-hmm. See, now, no, don't tell people because then she'll be, oh, where's that one at? Oh, I gotta do your parents buy stuff still? Yeah. Oh, Y'all are, I love that look. She's like, but of course, why wouldn't it be that way? And what world would those people not be purchasing things for me? Y'all are hilarious. But of course, carrots. Oh my gosh, it's spoiled, isn't it? Hannah, I'm trying to, Hannah, she graduates in the summer and I think she feels like she needs to still be provided for. I'm like, but that's the whole point. Is to get education, right? Oh, you graduated? Where'd you graduate from? Oh no, I mean she's gonna graduate from here this summer, but I don't think she doesn't feel like that's a need to move out. Yeah,
Are you gonna push her out?
I'm gonna help and support her to save money so she can get out. I'm not gonna kick the child out. It's too expensive. And when I was coming through, it wasn't expensive. I mean, like you get an apartment, it was comfortable. But she's got to be set up so she can be. Need you to be successful. You know, please be successful.
What did she major in?
Business accounting. Yeah. And then I think she'll probably go back to school for like HR or something like that. It's her interest, like to do HR.
Human resources?
Yeah.
Man, I hate that.
But I think, and she has a. I think she could do it. I'm gonna tell you, she didn't like. I think she could keep a straight face and not be bothered or phased by things.
I know when I graduated, my parents are shipping me down to Columbia.
What, for military? No, or what?
I'm going to school.
Oh, I got you. When you said shipping down, I mean, I was like,
No, like they gonna send me
Shipping.
with all my stuff, and yeah, like I'll be out on my own at that point.
oh, they're like, that's it.
I have until I graduate from here.
Sorry.
And
They talked about it. I mean, okay, we're going to get back into it. Who else's parents have told them? Who's independent right now? Raise your hand. I got 1, 2, 3, kind of 4. Trying. Yeah, it's difficult, right? Whose parents have set a deadline? Like at this date, it's done. I'm at 1. Anybody else? Look at you. You sound like my daughter. It's horrible. Right here, kind of.
It didn't go through though.
Did it go through? Oh, it's funny. Y'all were hilarious. Okay, what was the cutoff date?
Mine, I was 9 whenever I graduated.
But from what? So is it from here or it was high school?
High school.
But you couldn't. That's it's not realistic. Like I don't understand that deadline because how could you?
I had a job.
But that's not good enough, is it? Tell the truth. No, the job is not good. I mean, we gotta just face up to it. Yeah,
Actually, I'm at home because it seems more relaxing, makes life
The-
less
I bet.
The only
I bet it does.
The only downside-
For you,
I know I'm move out. I know I'm ready. I want to move out. Like,
y'all are expensive.
The only downside is that they told me they'll buy me my first apartment, like when I graduate.
You're gonna do what?
They're gonna buy me my.
Oh, good. Oh, wow. Look at all that.
But my mom stopped me. She said she would rather me
Whatever
like be
you
under her.
I think
Then just be out.
That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah. Yeah, if she starts to just not care about anything, that's different. You can't just be out there.
That's what I'm trying to do.
Okay, so now we're ready. Let's talk about the class project. Okay. Now remember, this is what you're doing this part of your KWL on, all that kind of good stuff. So class project. Class project. That was the title, right? Your success team project?
Let's go somewhere. I'm so sorry.
Oh, yeah. Your success team project. Now, I want to start out with this because this is what everybody is most concerned with, right? How do I get a what? A perfect score, right? So when that's the same thing with me, when I'm in my classes, please show me what you want. I will deliver it, right? So that's what we're going to talk about. Now, I put these 2 points in there for a reason, because if you do a video, sometimes people want to include music. And if you've heard a song over and over, a lot of times you don't even notice it, right? But what am I saying clearly? No profanity. And that's because I know you're not going to be just saying profanity. It just makes sense. But if a song has it in there and you didn't notice it, you can get caught off guard by that, okay? So you can use the instrumental, or a part of a song, if you want to use music that doesn't have anything in it. Everybody understand what I'm saying there? Yes.
So, you know where parental explicit came from?
So what?
You know where parental explicit came from?
Yeah, I know that background.
It came from Prince in one of his songs, one of a girl's daughter, a woman's daughter.
Okay.
Singing it, and yeah.
We're gonna go ahead. All right. So if you submit a video, let's say you do decide to make a video, okay? And who has made a video before? Anybody in here? So what type of video have y'all made?
It was like a project we got between like.
Okay.
Science.
Yeah, and I mean, like, I don't mean it has to be academic, any kind of video. I'm talking about like TikTok, YouTube, the project you're talking about. Y'all made them?
I did one for Warnock.
Warnock?
TikTok.
Okay.
Like a 10-15-minute video for a project.
Oh, wow.
We did it as a group.
So but it was a TikTok?
Yeah. It was an interesting TikTok.
Okay. All right. And how about y'all? Have y'all made like a TikTok type videos or anything? Yeah. So these are, and if you haven't made one, you've watched videos, right? And you know what works and what doesn't. These are talents. Please know that. I'm asking you, if that is what you like to do, you can use that for this. Okay? That is a talent. I believe it's multiple intelligence theory. Okay? Multiple intelligence. Everybody's not smart in the same way. Everybody got that? I told you guys I enjoy more of qualitative than quantitative, right? Multiple intelligences. There are people in my class, my doctoral class, I'm like, wow, you're so brilliant. You can do quantitative. And they're going, I wouldn't want to do qualitative a day in my life. Do you see how our brains are different? Yeah. And so you all, that's why I'm presenting this in two different options, PowerPoint style or video style. People have different ways they want to do it, right? Okay. Now, mind you, the example I'm going to show you is an older video. It's actually, even though it's not that long ago, technology has advanced since then because it was in 2020, right? And so it's 5 years of, different changes, advancements and stuff like that. So that's where that video is coming from. And I'm also going to show you some example, non-example PowerPoints because we're going to talk about how we could improve these, how they could be made better. Everybody get that? If I show you perfection, it's like, okay, great. But if you see something that's a little off, you can think in your mind, how could I make that better? All right. So again, if it's a video, you will submit me the link in Blackboard. If it's like a PowerPoint, you will submit that actual file. Okay. And that link has to be viewable. You can't set it to private because then I can't open it. Everybody got that? Okay. Now, you all are in a competition with each other, the groups, right? Friendly competition, friendly wager, okay? So it doesn't hurt you in any way. It just helps you. So you don't lose points, but you have an opportunity for them, right? So it says you're entered into that diamond level competition. One top project in each class can earn diamond. If they're both stellar, and I've only one time gotten like a tie because it was just so great that you couldn't give it to one. Everybody got that? But I'm talking about it was stellar. Now, diamond level winner earns what? Yeah. So you have the possibility of getting 200 points out of 100. Everybody get that?
Do these points come from the end?
They roll over. So a whole 100 points could roll over to help your grade. Yeah. I mean, it's a whole nother 100 points. Yeah, it can help. Yeah. They're going to filter through.
Like Eagles fuel points, you get 5 cents off of $100.
It's better than 5 cents. That's the whole $100. That's the whole.
It's better than
Yeah. All right. So here are the topics that you could cover. So it's any topic covered in our ebook that are strategies for learning. Everybody got that? Now, some people have used in their group multiple topics that are tied together. Okay? So like if it makes sense for those topics to sync up together, they've done that. They were like, well, I like this topic, they like this topic, but we can see how one theme can unify them. You can do that. Okay? You can do that. So here are some options, and these are all from chapter 1. Using strategies to read textbooks, reading actively, previewing before you read, activating background knowledge, check and strengthen your comprehension, use of the SQ3R system, highlighting effectively, use of annotation to record your thinking. Here's some more. Outline text, how do we do that? Drawing maps to show relationships, paraphrasing ideas, summarizing text, learning and recall strategies, which we just covered today, okay? Remember those learning and recall strategies? Like these, remember the SQ3R, periodic review, final review, immediate review, mnemonic devices, all those things. Now, before I show you the video, I'm going to show you the PowerPoint non-examples, okay? And I want you guys to tell me how they could make them better, okay? So again, what you see, he's reaching out for it. He's almost there, but he didn't reach it, right? All right. I mean, he's very much trusting too, isn't he? Look at that squirrel. He's like, oh, this human is very friendly. I'll just take this from them. So here, this person, and I'm going to keep it the right size, the size they have it to start with. Use these 4 strategies to help you attack the word and find its meaning. Do you notice anything about this first slide? Got a shark on it? Mm-hmm. The theme is going to be shark-based because they went with attack, okay? Can you read this easily?
No,
And why? And tell me the why of that. Why is it difficult?
it's not almost the same coloration, but it's purple.
Yeah, there's not enough contrast, right? We need contrast. You could flip and have that on a white background or vice versa, white on that dark background.
Or red or something like that.
Yeah, red is so jarring though. Like if you think about it, like it's unpleasant. Like if you put, like red makes us think that something's wrong sometimes. Like when a teacher writes red ink on your paper, it's like, oh. So that's one reason I don't like to use it unless, I definitely need to.
Gray works.
Yeah, gray might work. It depends on what you put it on, right? All right, so let's look at this slide. First thing I want to say, the student actually has good information. I'm going to tell you that in a minute when we look at it. But besides that, just look at it like you're actually learning. Don't look at your screen, because if you look at your screen, you're like, oh, I need to look at this so I can see it better, right? But remember, it's supposed to be up on this screen. So if a teacher was presenting, like if I had this up here like this for you to learn, how would you feel about it? You're in the very back, right? And I need to have it big enough for the back. So what are your feelings about it? I put this up here and I'm just, oh yeah, right here, copy this down. Get it down. It's what? Yeah, it's hard to see. Why is it hard to see?
Because the words are so close to the border.
Words are so close to the border. What else? The picture's tiny. Okay. The color contrast is not there. Yeah, we don't know what's going on, right? So now let's blow it up so we can see what they had there. So we see sometimes people want like a neat font. Oh, I want a Disney font. Oh, I want a cute font. Right? And that's what they tried to do. But what do we notice about legibility with it? Yeah, it might look cute. You're like, oh my gosh, I love it. But people can't read it. So we need, I'm not telling you have to use Times New Roman, but the font needs to be clean, okay? So people can read it. Now, I had to blow it up that much for us to start seeing what it says, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, why? Why is it like that? So here we are. You might find a word with the same meaning. You see it now?
There's a purple word?
Yeah, you can see that, right? Now, if it had been white font and larger, we could have seen it, right? It would have popped.
Or put an outline around the word or something.
But even if let's say on this blue background and it had been white text, perfect. Because the contrast is and it's not as jarring. So yeah. Now you can see these are sharks swirling, okay? circling. They've got their shark there as well. Now let's look here.
They can move it down.
Look at that. Yeah, they could. There's a lot of space, right? We're gonna talk about that. Look at this. The homework was more complicated or difficult than she had first thought. So they stick with, you might find a word with the same meaning, synonyms, right? The homework was more complicated or difficult than she first thought. They had a good example, but let's go back out. Look at all that. Who are we saving this space for?
No one.
Who's coming to get that space?
No one.
No one. And it doesn't cost any more money, right? It's the same thing. So I can use all that. I can use a clean font. I can get increased size, and I can do contrast, right? Yeah. All right, let's keep it going. What do you notice here?
Same thing.
Same issues, right? Look at it. And they're trying to use this as like stylistic kind of, and some people will do this because you're like, there'll be people like fixated, but I want that sentence to be divided by the border because I like it. It makes me feel good when I see that. I can't even believe that I got it to divide that way. Does it matter to do that? No. It would have been better to have this all on that white, right? And then have white fun up there or something.
If you had all white, it would be no issue.
Yeah.
Maybe for the picture, I mean, you did a picture.
Yeah.
That's it.
No. You actually, in PowerPoint, you have the option to do the format editor, like the AI built-in editor. You can do that. So let's say I threw all this stuff on there and it's like, ugh. Now, sometimes it doesn't have good choices. Like you look at it and say which one you like, right? You just don't click on it. Oh, the AI told me this is great, right? But you look at it and see what might work. Okay. Now let's blow it up so we can see what they were saying. It says you might find a word with the opposite meaning. Okay. And then here, even though some of the dogs were very docile, others were mean. Okay. And they're dealing with antonyms. So they had a good example, right? It was very plain. They didn't have examples like what I'm using. This was the first go. Okay. This was very straightforward, plain, but again, every iteration gets better because you've seen examples, right? So they didn't see these examples. Same type of party, right? Here, find an explanation. The word might be explained in the sentence before or after the unfamiliar word. Joe was so exhausted, she could hardly keep her eyes open, okay? She better keep them open if these sharks are in that water, right? I don't know what's going on with Joe. She must be out at sea or something, just floating in the water. Bad times. Okay, same kind of thing. Who's using all this space? Nobody. Like, what's going on here?
It's almost like made it impossible to read.
Mm-hmm. And they love the color blue. They explained that to me, like blues and purples, but we can't put it on that background though, right? All right. Now they had an error right here. If you can't read the word, leave it and just keep reading. That doesn't make sense, right? I was like, content error. But then on top of that content error, look at this font.
It's bigger.
But hold on, let me go out. That's the real size. So style it from your space, not on your laptop. Is that easy to read? Because it just blends kind of, doesn't it? That font, kind of like it's a brush stroke kind of pattern. And so it's harder for us to read. Yeah, it's bigger, but because of that font choice, that style choice, unless you had it, you see this, and it's still kind of funky, but you could make it out. It'd be better if it were white font on that blue background. Yeah. Now here's another one. All right, so what do you think the theme will be for this one? What's the theme? It is Garfield. So Garfield is the theme for this. And they said, teaching inferences through comics. This person actually put a lot of work in content-wise, but they've got some major errors, like with stylistic and just making sure the size and visibility and all that kind of stuff, okay?
But still the blue and white background?
Still with the blue and white. They were both groups that were like side by side, and they decided, yeah, it was. So I liked that. I didn't like it, but I'm saying, but to show you the issues. You ready? All right. So what do you notice here?
I cannot read that.
At all, right? And they thought, hey, I'll use thought bubbles for this first slide. How cute that is, right?
It's cute, but nobody can read it.
Yes. And that happens sometimes. Like we get caught up in our heads, but it's so cute, right?
I still can't
Yeah,
read
it's so cute. It's like, but unless you blow it up tremendously, right? I'm happy to report that there's been a demand for my comics because they help you with inferencing. So put on your thinking caps, okay? So we're moving forward. You ready? Boom.
What? Whoa. Did they get dumber?
No, there's a lot of good content, but their error was thinking this is a handout.
They even look on my computer, I can't read it.
Are y'all ready though? Good content, you're gonna see in a minute. But they did it like it was a handout that the person was getting. Y'all see the difference?
Imagine if they had to print that.
Yeah.
If I can't see it on the board, I dang sure can't
Yes.
see it on the paper.
Yes. Do you see why I'm giving y'all none examples? Because we think like this, I've got to put it all on the one slide. Okay? Now they got points counted off too because they didn't get 15 slides. But this could have been 5 slides. This, because up here, breaking this up could have been 4, and then 1 slide for this portion.
Or they could have just put the overview on the first and then just put the 5 other slides or the 4 other slides for the points.
Yeah. But do you see how much this is? Like right here, over the years, I found that one of the most effective ways to strengthen inference skills is through the use of comics. Garfield is my character of choice for several reasons. First, I absolutely adore him. Second is comics lend themselves to inferencing on an elementary level. That could be 1 slide, okay? 1 slide. Although I have to spend countless hours searching through archives to find ones that are, like, think about how much space, like these are multiple slides. Then when I scroll down, PowerPoint suggestions. Here, this could be a slide and that could be a slide. Points 1 through 2, a slide, 3 and 4, a slide. Keep that as the title, okay? Okay, let's go. What do you see here?
It's a bit better.
But, and yes, because you got some on there, but what does it need though?
More color.
No, I mean, the color's fine.
It needs to be more color, more bolder on the writing so you see more.
It needs to be big.
Yeah, bigger.
Who are we saving that for, right?
No.
Yeah, bigger font, take up more space. That is okay. So let's say here on both the comic and down there on the font. So at the top, look at this. You couldn't see that before, right? Here we have, now to enter my time travel machine. What's he doing here? Sleeping, and then he says here, and just like that, it's tomorrow, okay? So they're going to use this comic to discuss kind of what, the inferencing concept. So they put sample questions that could have gone with this. Now, what about this font? Is it an easy to read font?
Not really.
And they could, let's see if they were fixated on the font. They could use it for specific things. Like if they, like the word Garfield, they could put Garfield in the Garfield font and the rest of it in like the regular font. Y'all see what I'm saying?
Or they could have just bolded Garfield.
And the bolding doesn't help either.
No, I mean, they're saying if they had an Arial or whatever font, they're saying they could make it creative in different ways that don't detract from your ability to read it.
On our screen, the 2 bolded words are not as bolded on your screen as they are on ours. Ours, you can't even read them.
You can't read it. Understood.
You can't read it.
Understood. But y'all see the issues, right? And this student, you can tell they worked. Y'all can see this, right? They just thought, oh, I just keep it, you know, in this little space. Go to the next. So this one is very similar, okay? Here, let me go to this one. Okay, so they even had like a little Odie icon. Y'all see it?
I'm glad the blue's gone.
But it's still small, isn't it?
Yeah.
It still has those issues. Like if I zoom back out, look at this. Y'all see that? And who are we saving this space for again?
Nobody.
Right. And I'm emphasizing that because when you're doing this, those would be the kind of things to look at. I like the amount of words on the page. Everybody get that? Not the font size, of course, but the amount of words. So I can move this up a little bit and increase it, right? And then I can increase all that. Okay? Same type of party there. Yeah. And then they got the
Wow,
end.
you can read.
Mhm.
You can read it.
You can read the end. But think about it. When students are doing this, hold on. Give them the, you know, they lost their points, you know that. But they didn't have any, they didn't, you know, they only had themselves to draw upon. They had the rubric, right? But they didn't get to look at something like this and pick it apart, did they? But now when you're doing it,